2 years ago, I asked ChatGPT 4 for a services pricing table. I recorded myself reading that out loud. Today, TikTok's On This Day feature recycled that video, and I was able to plug that into Gemini and get a summary of the prices that I mentioned 2 years ago. Then I asked ChatGPT for an updated pricing guide, and I compared that to an offer letter that I got a few years ago. I also described what I've been working on and how I've been designing and communicating the marketing for a few projects. And I communicated this with my team and LinkedIn. It is possible to build in public, and it isn't always going to be immediately rewarding, and everyone is going to interact with different systems. So my pattern for interacting with media publishing, for example, is going to be different than someone who isn't trying to demonstrate skills in publishing. I'm describing this because I'm looking for principal engineering roles, and I want to be able to point to a trajectory that someone can follow for a few years and rely on at least developing some skills. So my recommendation is to practice making videos similar to this, where you walk through your strategy for describing how you ground your professional services in some sort of market. So presumably, as I've been reflecting on pricing and as I've been having conversations with a variety of professionals across a variety of verticals on TikTok, my web development and marketing and networking and software engineering skills presumably would have developed. This isn't an automatic guarantee, but also part of my brand is that I majored in learning and education studies with a concentration in applied learning science. So presumably, I've been applying learning science towards my career and describing how I've been doing that as I build in public. And I have described that a bit on YouTube and on TikTok over hundreds of videos on YouTube and thousands of videos on TikTok. And there are multiple repositories published to my GitHub and a few organizations that you can follow for inspiration. Lore.land and factshift.com have been described for a few years on TikTok and have stable concepts. So you can replicate those. The work there has already been done. If you do replicate that, then basically you can meet people, you can meet creatives if you replicate that work. There's a lot that goes into maintaining relationships sometimes, so your mileage may vary, but if you create something like lore.land and factshift.com and describe how you aim to stabilize those concepts and where they are stable and what can be extended and how you extend imagination and make those available however you do, the story you tell about your professional skills and the ways you ground those in some sort of navigable reason, that's what we can do. Today I did some logo design work, and I think that's pretty cool. You can use a logo to seed a style, and if you have a relationship to your logo, like you doodle with it, then as you make content about the things you find meaningful, like motivation or team building or learning, literacy, etc., as you make videos and you have doodles, then there are just different ways you can bring style across frames, and that can be a background reason to find a video interesting. And if you practice making videos like this, then narrating isn't so difficult. If you have visuals that you keep on producing, if you draw and have a backlog of, for example, laminated folios, then you can go through those and ask ChatGPT to modernize your stack, basically. So I have some laminated folios from a few years ago. I have a services pricing table from a few years ago that I published that I posted on TikTok and YouTube. And I asked ChatGPT to modernize that based on what I've been up to, based on modern 2026 prices, based on an offer letter that I received for a job that I had for a while. And presumably, I've been practicing, and the team that I've built has rhythm for a reason, etc. And I'm going to ask Gemini, hopefully, probably. Well, we'll see. We'll see what Gemini says about this one. Sometimes Gemini doesn't express many opinions about the videos, which I think can be good for some reasons. So I'm probably going to ask about the structure of this video and then ask ChatGPT which dimensions I can elaborate for pursuing principal or founding engineer roles, or design roles, or team lead roles, or senior engineering roles. Probably going to post this to TikTok and YouTube. Cheers.